Hi everyone, my name is Amy, one of your registered dietitians. I am so excited that you guys have joined me for another virtual kids cook at home cooking class. Today we are turning the oven on and we are baking. So many of you have requested baking recipes. So today we have partnered up with our friends at Quaker Oats to do 2 baked recipes. One of them is a berry oatmeal bake and the second is applesauce muffins. So both are so tasty, very fun to make, and of course we're getting in some great nutrition along the way too. So before we dive into the first recipe, which we're going to be doing the berry oatmeal bake first, I want you guys to wash your hands very well, and I also want you to wash all of the fresh produce if you're using any. So I'll meet you back here right after we do that. All right, step number 1 is we are going to take a large bowl and we are going to combine our oats, our flour, and I like to use a whole wheat white flour, melted butter, and then last but not least, some packed brown sugar. So now I am just going to take this and I am going to mix it together until it's crumbly. All right guys, so I have my mixture all mixed very well. It's a little crumbly. I am actually going to reserve about 1 cup of this mixture and we're going to use it on the top a little bit later. So I'm just going to take my 1 cup measuring spoon or measuring cup and leave about 1 cup off to the side. I'm going to take the rest and we are going to blend or press it into the bottom of my baking pan. And you want to press down firmly. So if you need to use your hands, you can. Just make sure that they're very clean. I like to use a spatula just to help get it nice and flat. All right. So I'm actually going to go ahead and bake this in the oven at 350 for about 13 minutes. And while that's baking, we're going to get started on the next layer. All right, while the crust is baking, I am going to go ahead and make the filling, or the next layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries. If they're frozen, keep them frozen, don't thaw them out. We want them to help hold their shape. Then I'm going to add some raspberry preserve. You can also use strawberry preserve if you like. And then I have just about a teaspoon of flour and a little bit of lemon zest in here. We're just gonna mix this together well. Be gentle so we don't burst all the blueberries. All right, so you can see that a little bit. So this smells amazing. I love the smell of the fresh berries. And what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna wait until the base or the crust layer is done in the oven. And then we're going to add a layer of our blueberry mixture. And then we're gonna top it with that remaining oat topping that we took out at the very beginning. So hold tight and we'll wait for the rest to bake. All right guys, I have taken the base layer of the berry oatmeal bars out of the oven. I've let them cool for a little bit. However, the pan is still a little warm, so I'd always recommend using some oven mitts. But what we're gonna do next is we are going to take our berry mixture, so the blueberries, the preserve, and a little bit of flour, and we are going to pour that right over this crust and spread it out. So it's about a 1/2 inch or so away from the edges. And again, always use your oven mitts because it is a little warm. I'll try to show this to you guys so you can see it. But it's about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch away from all of the edges. So that's the berry mixture. And then last but not least, I'm going to spread the remaining 1 cup of the oat mixture, which is the same as the base, and we're just gonna sprinkle this over the top. All right. So I'm gonna put this back in the oven at 350 degrees, and it'll be done in about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, guys, I just pulled the berry oatmeal bake out of the oven. It's all nice cooked through. I have a nice golden brown color right on the top. So this will be ready to go and serve up soon, but first we are going to let it cool so that we don't burn our mouths. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set this aside, and then I'm going to actually grab all of my ingredients out for our applesauce muffins. And we'll get started on that recipe shortly, so stay tuned. All right, guys, while the berry oatmeal bake is cooling down behind me, we're gonna go ahead and get into these applesauce muffins. If you haven't already, go ahead and wash your hands very thoroughly because we're gonna start on our next recipe, which is our applesauce muffins. So we're gonna go ahead and put all of our dry ingredients together. So we're gonna use our oats. I use white whole wheat flour. And then this is baking soda, baking powder, and a little bit of cinnamon. So we're gonna combine this all together. And my oven is preheated. You're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 400 degrees. All right, so my dry ingredients are mixed. Now I'm gonna take another bowl and I'm gonna put together all of my more wet ingredients. So I have an egg white. Then I have 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I then have packed brown sugar. The applesauce, which is very important in our applesauce muffins. And this is unsweetened. Gotta make sure we get it all. And then last but not least is about a 1/2 cup of milk. All right, so now we're gonna combine this very carefully. All right, so now we are gonna combine our wet and our dry ingredients. All right. So we don't wanna over mix it, but we do want to be sure that it is mixed well. Can really smell the applesauce. All right, so my batter is nice and mixed. Next, we're just going to fill our cupcake tin or our cupcake liners with the muffin batter. And then before we pop it in the oven, we're gonna make just a really quick topping. And then once we're done with that, we'll get ready to bake. All right, guys, so before we put these in the oven, we're gonna make that topping. So I have some oats, a little bit of butter that's melted, some brown sugar, and then I'm just gonna do a little dash of cinnamon. So mix that together. And now I'm just gonna add a little bit of this to each of the top of the muffin batter. All right, So these are going to go in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're fully cooked through, and you can use a toothpick to be able to measure if they're cooked all the way through. You want to be sure it comes out clean. So we'll put these in the oven and we'll wrap up today's class. All right, guys, that is a wrap for our Kids Cook at Home virtual cooking class today. I used my toothpick to do the test, and the muffins came out perfectly. Can't wait to dive into those. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you guys enjoy both the recipes that we made, both the applesauce muffins and our berry oatmeal bake. They're gonna be great for breakfast, maybe toss in a lunchbox, or even an after dinner snack. If you guys are looking for more recipes and upcoming classes, visit celebratemore.com/kidscookathome. And as always, take photos of your creations and tag us on social media, both on Facebook and Instagram. Hope to see you guys soon. Stay warm.